Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's the beginning of a week for our show here, and I wanted to say thank you for watching. As always, you can always support the channel by following any of the links, the PayPal link, the Patreon link, or whatnot. Just help us keep the show on the air and spreading the gospel of the Second Amendment. I know we've been really concentrating on Virginia and stuff going on in Virginia because it seems like that's all anybody wants to talk about. But I decided to go back to our old format for tonight, at least. I might not be able to see your comments. My monitor computer is rebooting. But I want to bring in a guy I've known for a while and I think is one of the best firearms photographers I've ever seen. And his name is Jeromy Stites, and he's from Danger Close Digital. And how you doing, Jeremy?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, man, the first question I have is let's just jump right into it. How did you get into firearms photography?
Well, I've always been into firearms. My whole family's been sportsmen, hunters, no tactical or anything, but I didn't really get into that till I got here to Arizona. But I've always had an interest in some photography, some videography. I used to do some really amateur stuff way back in the late 80s, early 90s, with computers and doing digital enhancements. And so I just kind of fell into it along with my love of firearms. I ended up taking a photo one day of one of the guns I had assembled. And my buddy said, man, these photos are pretty good. And so my wife at the time, she suggested there's a new application that just came out called Instagram. And she said, you should probably get on there and share some of these. And so I did. And just kind of been doing it ever since.
Yeah, I mean, some of your images are like freaking incredible. I'm showing them all right now on the screen. And they are just amazing if you look at the quality of them.
Thank you.
That's one of the things that like your action photography is what stands out to me.
Yeah, that's kind of my bread and butter. I'm called Danger Close Digital because I sometimes put either myself in danger, not real danger, because most of these shots are very controlled. But I do, I am standing in front of the guy with the flamethrower that you have up on the screen right now. Well,
that's why I picked up this picture specifically. I saw this earlier, and I just wanted to know, how the hell did you get that without being torqued?
A lot of trial and error. So what we did is we went out to the desert, and we don't go out there to take photos, right? We go out there to have fun. That's our primary thing. So I know how far that flamethrower will go. And so I measured out the distance, and then I backed up a safe distance, relatively close, but still safe. And then I ended up with the zoom. Now I shoot in 4K, so I end up with much higher resolution images. So even if I am further away, I can still bring them up a little bit closer in post. And then they still retain their full resolution and look like I'm actually standing closer than I am.
Well, that's what I do. I shoot a lot in 4K as well. And not that I like really upload in 4K that much, but I shoot in 4K just so I can, crop it in and whatnot.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Most of those photos are not 4K when I publish them. Most of them are 2K. But I used the extra room to tinker with them a little bit. That 4K allows me to do. So I end up getting some shots that look like I'm closer than I actually am. Although I can tell you that shot was very, very hot. that particular flamethrower goes about 35 feet. So I stood about 45, maybe 50 feet out, and set up the tripod and just had them waving around it in my direction. And I continuously took photos until I was happy with what I ended up with.
Yeah,
So,
here's another one that I really like. Was this a nighttime shoot or?
yeah, this was actually, I work with a lot of not only do I do firearm photography for manufacturers, but I also work a lot with local trainers. So I go out with them quite often during their training courses. This is actually a live fire training course for night operations. So again, that's a real life photo. That's not something that I set up. And I'm hanging over their shoulder. They know. I tell them right off the bat, look, hey, I'm called danger close because I'll be right up your butt. And if I'm too close, then tell me to back up, and I'll back up. And on occasion, I have to back up. But usually, I place myself in a position where I'm not going to be in any kind of real danger, but close enough to capture some of the shots I think are very compelling.
Yeah, so it looks like you started out as a hobby with this, and it just developed into a career.
Well, I don't do it as a career. This is a secondary for me. I do maintain a regular day job. And quite honestly, I don't know how photographers make a living taking photos because I don't get paid a whole heck of a lot, but I do get some really cool toys. So,
Like your wall behind you.
oh yeah, the wall behind me. Yeah, these are actually these are real guns, and I get private individuals that'll contact me and say, "Hey man, can we go out and shoot? And can you make me look cool?" I'm like, yeah, what do you want to shoot? And a lot of times they want to shoot from these guns. So I keep them on the wall back here so that when I get contacted by someone, I take a photo of the wall and say, which one do you want to use?
So Danger Close will actually provide the weaponry for the shoots.
Yeah, unless you have your own, I can provide you with weaponry. Yeah, I have there's I think 17 or 18 of them on the wall behind me, and I have enough to fill about 3 walls. I also keep a wardrobe of tactical attire so that you can actually get dressed up in plate carriers and all the magazines. But the only thing I don't have because they're too darn expensive is like night vision and things like that. So.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so it's kind of like cosplay with real guns.
Do you get a lot of people that really aren't into firearms, but they just want to, go out and like have some really cool Instagram photos?
Not very often. Usually they have some interesting guns. Quite often I get people whose interest in guns is seated in video games. So they'll play a lot of a particular video game. They'll be like, "Hey, do you have this gun?" And usually I have either the gun myself or I have a means to get my hands on the gun for the day. So, yeah, it happens, but not very often. I don't think I've ever had anybody that's never fired a gun before. But I do get a lot of people who are new to it. And then they're quite nervous seeing how close I stand. I have.
How close do you actually stand?
Well, that depends on who I'm shooting with. Like, you'll see photos of Drew. You'll know him from my website because he's in quite a few of the photos I do. I work with him repeatedly, and I have a pretty good trust of Drew. And we have a full safety rundown that we do. We limit the number of rounds that they have in their firearm. I trust him to not shoot me or my equipment. I kind of lost track of what the original question was. What was that? What was the original question again?
Oh, how close do you get to him?
So like I said, it depends on who I'm shooting with. Drew, I will get within 3 foot of the muzzle brake.
Oh wow!
Because I actually trust him greatly. So a lot of the front on shots are with Drew and a handful of other guys I shoot with repeatedly. And then most of the over the shoulder ones are the ones that I haven't really built up a rapport with.
Wow. Kermit Loves Bacon is out there. I think I was talking to you earlier today about some stuff. Yeah. So that is really, really cool. And you also work for manufacturers as well. So
Mm-hmm.
check out people.
Yeah. Yeah, I have quite a few, and luckily I live in Arizona. There's quite a few firearm manufacturers that are based out of here. So I usually get to go out, and the manufacturer goes out with me, and they tell me what their idea is for the day, and I do my best to make that a reality.
Yeah. Some of your pictures have been featured on Wary for Ammo Land. And were you in Recoil?
Um, I've been on their website. Their website put some photos out that I had taken. But I've been in, I've been in AmmoLand, I've been in Small Arms Review, I've been in Shooting Industry magazine, and then I'm in a bunch of flyers and handouts. So for example, when the XM42 flamethrower came out, which you had the photo of there, they came to me and I did their entire national spread for them. So all the flyers and all the gun stores across the country were using my photos. I had billboards up on the road, which is kind of weird, but it's really cool. And I work a lot with Adaball Sites. They provide a lot of stuff for me, and I do a lot of their photos for them. Paymax Tactical, I've been working with a lot lately. He's a new guy, kind of up and coming, and he's got some really interesting products.
Yeah, I mean, just some of these pictures. What type of camera do you use?
Well,
Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on camera stuff.
well, I have several cameras, but typically most of these photos come from Panasonic Lumix cameras.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm a big Canon fan of myself.
Yeah, well, I like Canon, but what I found is that the Panasonic Lumix has really good black response, which in the gun industry is pretty much the dominant color. So I've been sticking with it, and it's done a good job for me.
Another question I have, being a photography buff, is how much time do you spend on these in post?
Well, for shots like the one that you have on screen right now, just minutes, just basic color correction, maybe some cropping. That's about it. Now those are live fire. Those are off the cuff photos that you're looking at there. But for the ones where I show off manufacturer parts, I spend a lot of time removing dust and dirt. This is Arizona. A lot of times doing dust and dirt and removing serial numbers off of guns. I spend a lot of time taking stuff out of the background. So it really depends on the photo. Like that one, maybe half an hour. And then some of the other photos, if you look at on the website, if you look at the product photography, some of those can take up to 8 hours to do.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, I like the product photography, but these action shots are what really do it for me.
Yeah, that's kind of like my bread and butter. That's what sets me out from everybody else. I mean, if you go out on Instagram or Tumblr or Facebook, there's a million and one guys out there that are taking photos of guns on a white background or taking photos of guns on the floor with their feet in it. And I really don't want to be stuck in that rut. So I just kind of found my calling and getting up close and getting some action shots. I take a lot of influence from pop culture, popular movies, popular video games, and I spend a lot of time when I'm watching these sources of inspiration for me. I spend a lot of time pausing in places where I think that's a great shot that would make a great poster, and then I try to replicate that if I can.
Like a John Wick type movie.
Yeah. John Wick, video games a lot lately because that's a real big pop culture thing right now. I reckon we'll start to do a series for some Call of Duty and some Ghost Recon guns. Unless you can start doing some videography with it.
You can do videography with it.
Yeah, I'm going to start doing some motion photos, uh, rotation, zooms, things like that, just to add a little more spice to them so they're not just a static photo. And then hopefully I will be able to get some of these things on the wall back there.
Yeah, like that. That looks like a video game.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, that one I actually took inspiration from Splinter Cell.
You know what? I was actually gonna say that reminds me of Splinter Cell.
Right. So I recolored that, obviously.
Yeah.
That was a full color out in the desert. It was at night. That was actually done out at Ben Avery Farms facility out here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
But then
That's
I took it in and I color graded it and painted in the lenses. The lenses I had to paint in by hand because I was in the reflection.
Yeah, like that's funny that you said Splinter Cell because when I saw that picture, the first thing I said,
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I draw a lot of influence from popular culture, what's popular at the time, things that stand out to me that I think are just kind of dropping images. So,
like this looks like a painting.
hmm yeah, I do a lot of work in Photoshop, and I'm always trying new things. This is one of the new things I tried, and I ended up really liking it. For every photo that you actually see, there's probably about 15 of them or 20 of them that you don't see that I wasn't happy with the output. So,
Yeah,
but
honestly, a lot of times I just go through your photos. I think I've told you you're my favorite firearms photographer
well, thank you.
out there. Thank
Well, I
you.
try. I try to be different. I try to be exciting. That's the thing is, I want them to be exciting. I don't want a static, boring. This is a gun against a white background photo. I get requests for it. I usually turn them down because I think that's just kind of run of the mill. I don't want to be run of the mill.
Okay, now here's another question. Your level of skill, could you be taught that, or do you think it's just natural skill? And don't be
Mm,
modest. A lot of people want to know because they,
I think you could probably learn it. The only thing that I do that you can't really just learn is having some imagination and what to do with these things. I can take 3 photos in a row and turn them into 3 completely different things, with the same people in them, just slightly different positions, and I can put them out there. I'll wait a week in between them, and nobody even knows the difference because I try different things. So um, as long as you've got some imagination, and you can't be taught imagination, but you can be taught the rest. You certainly can. I I learned a lot of it. It's kind of funny because a lot of the things that I do, I actually learned from glamour photography.
yeah, this is kind of cool because it looks like this is another one I'd like.
Sorry, you get cut off.
Now, who says Mac stuff don't crash?
There you are. I was waiting patiently.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit issue with my Mac. I use a Mac to actually capture and recycle the live stream. And that it's been crashing. I don't know why.
But yeah, I don't have the problems with my Mac. I use both Mac and PC while I'm producing the photos. So.
Yeah, I usually don't have problems with my other Macs, but just this one. I just started like a day ago or so. So,
but where were we? I don't remember where we were.
you're talking about I was showing a picture where it looks like the guy was popping out.
Oh yeah, that was another experiment. I toyed with the idea of doing some photos in 3D. So if you put on 3D glasses, they would actually appear in 3D. I was like, yeah. The problem is most people don't have those glasses. So I decided that I was going to go a different route and just kind of worked him into the shot like that, cropped it just right, and brought his hands out, and that's how it turned out. I've done a couple of them. I don't remember about all photos I've done using that particular style, but yeah, it's just one of my styles.
Yeah, it's incredibly cool. That style. I just want to get back into a little bit of your training. Have you had any training in photography? Because it appears that you did, or it was just all
None,
self-taught.
really. I've taken some online courses. I took online courses for like glamour retouching, and that's where I get a lot of the resolution from. I know how to shade faces and things like that. So um, while none of the photos are completely fake, uh, it's not uncommon for me to go in there and correct shadows, things like that, especially on the outdoor photos because I really don't have any control over the lighting out there. So
Yeah,
my
well, everyone retouches photos.
Yep. So yeah, I go through with the stylus and I got a Wacom tablet and I go through and I paint on. I don't typically do that too much with the live models who are shooting guns. Most of those stay pretty true to form. I do some color correction on them because everything's so yellow out here in Arizona. But the studio shots, the professional shots that I do, those I
All right. How did you get this one?
well, that one I didn't post. That one was one of my experiments. I just got a new software package. I decided that I wanted to try it, so that's Drew. Drew went out with me, and we did some just random shoots, and I had him come running at me. I dropped out the background, replaced it with some. These are all generated in real time with some 3D effects software, some particle software.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they turned out pretty good. I'm real happy with them.
Here's a question for you. Being out in Arizona, is it true that you can just go out in the desert and just shoot?
Uh, for the large part, yes.
We can.
You have to be aware that you don't go out on Indian reservations because you're not allowed to shoot out there at all. We do have some pretty strict fire restrictions out here, so we get to be cognizant of that. Um, all the people that I hang out with, that I shoot with, are all very respectful of that. Um, but as long as you stand straight and narrow, then yeah, you can go out there and shoot pretty much anywhere you want to. I shouldn't say anywhere you want to. There's a lot of BLM land out here, which is why we can go out and shoot where we want to. No, it's not
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start that.
BLM.
I think I'm gonna start that where I live at. Just go out and shoot where I want to.
Yeah, for the
I, I,
most
th- I
part,
think I think it'll go
the
well
very
where I live.
hottest, driest parts of the summer, we can pretty much go out and shoot. Now, there's a lot. Arizona is really growing a lot. So the places that we can go shoot safely are starting to dwindle a little bit, but we still have a lot of freedom out here.
Yeah, I'm gonna start that out here where I live at. Just go out, pick up a piece of land, and just go shoot on it.
Yeah.
I think everyone would be cool with it where I live at.
And then sometimes in the very hottest summer months, if I have a manufacturer that wants action photos, um, then we will go out and we will dry shoot, and I will add muzzle flash and shell casings in post.
Right. Like this one, this picture that I have up on screen now. Was the inspiration for this like a Carlos Hancock or something from like
Yeah,
Vietnam?
I just thought it would look cool, looking like an old movie. What I had him do is that's my friend Matt, and that's him as well. The company that makes the rifle that he's holding there contacted me to do some photos. So we went out, and that not a single shot was fired that day, but we got some really good photos out of it.
Now, how did these companies contact you? Do they just contact you through the website Danger Close Digital?
Actually, most of them come across my Instagram. I don't get much traffic off my website, surprisingly. But yeah, they usually contact me via Instagram. I don't advertise. People come to me. I don't go out and ask people to send me their stuff. People contact me and say, "Hey, I saw a photo the other day that was being passed around, thousands and thousands of shares, and they saw my logo in the corner, so they contact me and say, hey, can we send you some stuff?" So,
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I want to get into some of the gun laws out in Arizona compared to where I am. Okay, you used to live in Virginia for a very short time.
I did. Yep.
Before you got the hell out, man, you should have warned me.
Well, the writing was on the wall, but yeah, I lived in Virginia for a short time, about 2 years. Then I came back here. Um, Significantly more freedom. Not so much at the time that I came back, but things have gotten progressively worse in Virginia, and I can't even imagine. Trying to do,
It's a fight every day, man.
it's like something new every single day. Um, but generally, at the time that I left, it wasn't that much, other than the fact that I couldn't find places to go out and just shoot.
Yeah,
Or, well, when I say shoot, I don't necessarily mean shoot guns, but shoot photos with guns that wouldn't scare the hell out of people. Because I lived in Fairfax, and that's a very progressive area, and I had a hell of a time getting out there and doing photos. Even dry fire shots, it just scares people. Next thing you know, they call the cops. So
yeah. When I had to take my photos, I set up in my backyard a lot of times for products.
I ended up doing, I had a lot of grass shots. I had some snow shots, but it was very limited, very limited.
Yeah,
I ended up
right.
having to travel great distances. I had to go out to Pennsylvania and West Virginia and very northern Virginia.
I'm pretty sure one of my liberal neighbors, well, one of the guys, I don't think I have a problem with it, but I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like handling like an AR-10.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here in Arizona, when I was living in Scottsdale prior to coming to Virginia, I would go out and I'd load up the van, and I'd have an AK-47 and an AR-15 strapped across my back, and neighbors would just wave at me and go, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, it was just kind of a normal thing. The attitude here is much different than it is out there in Virginia.
Although I gotta say, I found out like through my community message board and stuff that there's a lot of gun guys that are like closeted gun guys,
Mm-hmm.
but they're gun guys.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that there's a lot of gun guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Virginia
Well,
is kind of the original freedom state, right? So
yeah. Well, the thing is, there were a lot of closeted gun guys until recently.
yeah,
And now they're freaking like out in the open. It's like that's what I've been trying to tell you guys to do for like a long time.
yep. So yeah, and there's a pretty good community there. I went shooting with you several times, and there's a pretty good there's a good sized community everywhere of gun guys. People just don't
Yeah.
realize it.
A group that I put together for 3% United Patriots when I put the zone together, which we have zones. Uh, we had I held meetings over and over and over again. We have like no one. So after like my 8th meeting, then the 8th month in a row, I held a meeting, and like 6 people showed up, and you are one of them. Which is kind of funny. Just to let you know, now we have over 100
Oh, that's
in Northern Virginia alone.
it was growing while I was there, but 100 that actually surprises me. Good for you.
Yeah, statewide, I think we have around 2,700,
That's very good.
but
Yeah.
there's over 100 in Prince William, Loudoun, and Fairfax alone.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have to ask, what is a gun guy? Is it a gun guy someone who lives and breathes guns, kind of like I do, day in and day out? Or is a gun
I,
guy
I don't,
who
I
believes
don't,
in gun rights but doesn't necessarily run around spouting how great the Second Amendment is? I think we're finding now is there's a lot of people who are very passionate about freedom, who, even though they may not be gun guys,
yeah,
will actually speak up, because I think people see the writing on the wall that once you take away the second, that's your defense against them taking away the rest of your.
yeah. Like you want to defend the first,
Yep,
you defend the
exactly.
first and the second. But yeah, I have a friend named Ed, and Ed doesn't own any firearms whatsoever. And he won't even touch them. And he tomorrow is going to meet with a bunch of Republican legislature people and try to expel and try to put on them the importance of the Second Amendment. And this is a guy that don't own and doesn't own any guns, doesn't have any intention of owning any guns.
You know,
One gun.
you just have to love freedom. You have to love your country.
Yeah, I mean that's it. And people don't realize that this whole thing is just not about guns.
No, it's not. It's much more.
How do you get that through to people? How do you tell people that?
I don't think you do. I think what needs to happen is I think people need to suffer for some of the decisions that have been made before they realize, you know, this started a long time ago. This started with our attack on the Second Amendment.
Yeah, can we just put them in a room and let them suffer so I don't have to suffer with them?
Yeah. But yeah, there's people out there who, they don't vote for their country. They vote for their personal beliefs, and sometimes personal beliefs are not in line with our Constitution.
Or they vote because they voted for this party all the time. Like anybody who voted for Joe Morrissey, who is a convicted pedophile, convicted guy with child porn, married a 17-year-old secretary, convicted of statutory rape, and yet somehow he was elected.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Getting back to the photography, sorry, the tangent. This picture right here is one I have a question of. I got a feeling that shadow was put in post.
It was. Yep.
How did you do that? That's what I want to know.
How did I do that? Well, there was a real shadow there, but that is being. I go out in my garage and I create custom rigging for these things to build out things that I can remove and post and hide. So there was a real shadow there. So basically, I took the outline of that gun. I tilted it, filled it in with black, blurred it out a bit, and I put it underneath it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Did you like my question? Because photography just fascinates me. So did you hang the gun on something that you could black out or whatever, or like take out in post?
that one I carved. That one was taken on a white background. I have another room with a photo studio that's got a wall with pull down 10-foot wide sheets of paper. That one was taken on against a white background, and I actually carved suspension pillars for that out of white styrofoam. So I basically keyed it out.
So you just keyed out the white.
Just keyed out.
That is awesome. That's one of the things that I need to get better at is like keying out like stuff. But
yeah, I've gotten much better at Photoshop in the last couple of years, just because I try to be creative.
Okay, another question that I have: do you usually use Photoshop mostly, or do you use Lightroom, or a combination of both? Or
well, Photoshop and Lightroom are kind of complementary.
Yeah, they're very complimentary. But I know photographers that don't use Photoshop at all anymore. They're like, "Oh, I just use Lightroom."
Yeah,
and I don't kind of
can't
like that.
really do like print quality edits in Lightroom that would hold up to a really discriminating eye. Lightroom can do a lot of things. It does them really well, but precision is not one of them. So when you go in there with a brush and try to smooth out areas or remove, for instance, like serial numbers on that particular photo there, when you try to remove those in Lightroom, that doesn't do a really good job. So I usually do corrections to structure in Photoshop, and I do corrections for color in Lightroom.
Question on this Hades break here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use this is getting really technical for the people out there, but I want to know, so I need to ask. Did you use the smoke? Was this an element you added in Photoshop, or was this actual smoke?
No, that's that is surgical tubing pushed up through the barrel from behind, and I blew a vape through it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that kind of amazes me. That's the
skull at the end. Obviously, I did in Photoshop. I don't know if you noticed that there's a skull at the end, but
oh wow. I didn't, yeah, I see it now. That's the stuff that amazes me. It's like the sound guys from the movies where they had to go find sounds to make it sound like something, and they find like like breaking spaghetti for like breaking someone's neck or whatever, and stuff like that. And that's kind of what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I do a lot of experimenting.
Yeah. This one I wanted to talk about as well.
Mm-hmm.
The shapes that you put around there, I think, really complements the bolt carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Did you choose the shapes because it complements the bolt carrier, or am I just reading too much into it?
No, I actually chose those. That photo that's very close to the original photo. That one I saw a jeweler's commercial, and it struck me, and so I wanted to do that kind of style. I think it was a Zales commercial I saw, and so I did the bolt carrier, and it took me forever to get the light set up so that it wasn't shining right back into the camera lens. But that was just a plain on black photo. I enhanced some of the shine on there, and then I added the bokeh in post with some softer laying.
Yeah, the bokeh is the stuff around it.
It's the blurred out lights.
Yeah, but I mean, that was me. I hit the wrong button.
But anyways, yeah, that was intentional because the Young Manufacturing logo had a octagonal shape, and I kind of wanted to mimic that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I noticed. Wow. One of the things that I'm really impressed about your artwork, because it basically is artwork, is the lighting. the lighting skills is just amazing.
Thank you.
Like that. And that's the one thing I struggle with is getting the lighting right.
Yeah. Just have a vision in your mind of what you want the outfit to be. You can get some really good lighting off Amazon for relatively cheap.
Oh, I have tons of lighting, but
It's just
just setting it up the
room,
right way.
that room as black as you can, so that you have full control of the lighting, and just start moving things around until it strikes you. That's how I do it. I don't go into well, I mean, sometimes I go into it with a plan. Sometimes I have planned out what I want.
Yeah.
Sometimes I end up wanting to do a photo that I do, and it turns on into something completely different because I wasn't happy with the results. So I did something more creative with it. So, but yeah, lighting is just moving things around and kind of having a good idea in your mind of what you want the outfit to look like.
Yeah, just one of these pictures just below my mind.
Thank you.
Like this one. I have questions about all these. Yeah, John Voorhees really likes your artwork. These right here. Well, I'm pointing to them, and you can't even freaking see. What the mag is sitting on? These little hexagons.
Hmm.
What are those?
That is splash tile.
So you just saw a splash tile and decided, hey, this is
Mhm.
gonna make a good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you and I are on two different levels.
Yeah, I was just walking through. I was walking through uh, Home Depot, and I saw a similar tile, and it kind of inspired me to do that. I didn't get it there. Ended up having to order it, and I had to order it in bulk. I've got so many of those tiles; it's not even funny. I have
Right.
like 30 pounds of those tiles because that was the
Right.
lot I had to buy them in.
Well, you can probably save them for future shoots.
Oh, I do. I use them. I use them sparingly because they're so unique that if I used them too often, that people would kind of point out, "Hey, your photos are all starting to look alike." Um, so I'm pretty sparing with it. But yeah, I use them. I use them for several projects. I just used them for a project about 2 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Now the flamethrower. How fun was that?
That was hard. I almost burnt my house down doing that. Uh, so what I did was I ended up buying uh, the gas tank for the fuel source is at the bottom there, as you can see.
Uh-huh.
What it ended up buying is buying these very, very large ball bearings. And I loaded that gas tank up with about 14 pounds of these ball bearings. And I just lit the uh, pilot light and got a photo of it. But while I was trying to figure out what weight to put in there in order to keep it from tipping over, because it's quite
Yeah.
heavy.
Well, that was my question. How do you keep it from tipping over? I see G Web's out there as well. What's up, G Web? G Web runs a massive YouTube channel.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, what I ended up doing was I went out and I made some more rigging, and there's actually a suspension unit underneath the front, just behind that disc there,
Okay.
that I ended up painting out.
Because I was wondering how you did not burn down their house
Well, let me tell you, it tipped over. It tipped over, and I
with the flame on.
with the flame on. Yeah, yeah, it tipped over. I caught it, but it did tip.
That had to be scary.
I'm not stupid. I keep I work with some pretty crazy stuff sometimes, so I keep fire extinguishers and things like that in the studios, just in case I need them. But
How fun was it to shoot it though?
what's that?
How fun was it to mess around with it?
Oh, it's
I was
great. Yeah, I actually got to own. I've got two of those units right now. Um,
I wanted one for snow removal, but my wife vetoed that.
nah, you should have said something to me because I actually had those at the time. Well, I had one at the time that I was in Virginia. Certainly could have lent you one.
Well, yeah, well, I had one that I was going to use for snow removal, and my wife went and let me do it. And then some other dude did it and put it on YouTube, and
Hmm.
it went viral. And I'm like, that was my idea.
That's funny. Well,
I get
actually,
a video.
I go out and I have Arizona landscaping here, and I go out and I burn the grass that grows between the rock with it.
Oh, really?
My front yard. Yeah, neighbors are just used to it now. I go through it flamethrower.
Yeah, well, I want to make friends in my neighborhood, and when I say make friends, I mean troll people. And I
Yeah.
think if I stood out in front of my house with a flamethrower clearing off the snow, I think it would. Because my neighborhood is full of liberals.
Well, they're totally cool with it. I was friends with when I first moved in here. I quickly became friends with my neighbor who has since moved. But in the process, he had an interest in guns. I ended up doing that particular photo that you just had on the screen,
That one?
and no, of the flamethrower,
Oh,
and that's not something you hide on. That's not concealable. So when I got in my van and I was walking up to bring that into the studio, my neighbor's like, "What the hell is that?" So I told him. So we ended up playing with it, and so now the whole neighborhood knows that the guy at the end of the street has a flamethrower. And on 4th of July and Halloween, I usually go out. I live in a cul-de-sac, and I supervise, but I let the neighborhood kids and their parents go out there and shoot the flamethrower. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun with it. Neighbors, I think they love it. They don't tell me they love it, but they don't seem to mind it when I pull it out. Matter of fact, this Halloween I wasn't feeling well, and my neighbor knocked on the door. He says, "Hey man, can you pull out the flamethrower?" So I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll come out." But
yeah.
yeah, my neighbors are very understanding. Um,
I don't think mine would be.
it's Arizona. It's a different culture.
Yeah. You do a lot of work with Addiewell. How they're like were they one of your first big clients?
Yeah, they actually were. Good friends with Jimmy. He puts out excellent product for modest prices. That's why I like he knows he's not top class. He's not going out against Trijicon or anything like that. He knows that he's providing valuable products for a decent price, and that's his point. And I admire that about him. And I actually use this product. As a matter of fact, one of the guns on the wall have edible optics on them right now.
Yeah, I mean, this Vortec right here. I have it, and it's an awesome sight. There is another company called Hollow Sun that makes a similar product
Mhm.
that's like half the price. And honestly, don't tell the people at Vortec that, but I prefer the Hollow Sun one, even though it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's actually really good. It's actually not that much cheaper either. So
Yeah.
it's about $50 to $100 less expensive.
The Hollow Sun one?
Yeah, the Hollow Sun.
Oh no, they have another one that's like this.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's been up for a couple of years. Yeah, Hollow Sun. They sent it to me a while ago. I like it. Well, unlike you, I get free stuff a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
a, a lot of the credit from like gun reviews and stuff goes to the writers, and usually the people who take the pictures
Hmm.
will get like a little byline, and that's one of the reasons why I did an interview with you for AmmoLand, and also I did this right here because I think the photographers don't get enough credit for their work.
Yeah.
Um,
When you do that type of photography, like you just had up there with the scope, that is an amazing amount of work, especially when you shoot in 4K. Because I need to pick up those details.
yeah,
It's
it's a
details. I mean, it picks up every microscopic piece of dust. Hours and hours and hours spent on those hand removing those pieces of dust.
like I used a picture that you gave me permission to use. I think about like 2-3 years ago on for a review, and I saw you had the same product. I'm like, man, I really like this picture. Can I use it? And you said, yeah, sure.
Hmm.
And I used it, and people were like, oh, it was a really cool picture on the John Crump articles, and it had your name on it, and it had like your Instagram thing and your website.
Hmm.
And I'm like, don't give me, don't mention me, mention Jeromy.
Well,
You see that happen a lot?
yeah, I get a lot. I get a lot of emails asking, "Hey, one of my products was on a build that you featured. Um, can I go ahead and use it?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." You know, I know I'm not going to get rich off this, um, but I do it because I love it, and people seem to really enjoy it. So it makes people happy, makes me happy, and my equipment's paid. I make enough money that I paid for my equipment. Um, I certainly couldn't make a living off of it, but it's fun. It's fun. So I have no problem at all. You know, if a manufacturer sees something, every now and then I'll get, "Hey, you used my takedown pins on one of your builds. Can I use this photo?" I'm like, "Yeah, check yourself out."
Yeah, this trigger here, was this done on glass or?
That was done on a polished piece of, it's like epoxy. I can't remember what the name of it is.
Okay, so I take it wasn't printed on post, it was actually there.
Oh, that's real. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Yep. I have materials that I keep here, various colors, various reflectivity. I buy mirrors. I go to thrift stores a lot and find things that would just fit in the background, and I use them. And that was I think a $15 piece I got off of Amazon.
Okay, one of the things I wanted to stress is, like, great photographers like you and whatnot, they don't a lot of times they don't buy the pre-built stuff, like, when they said, "Oh, use this for photography, or background, or whatnot." You usually find stuff in the real world that, actually that you can use, and it actually turns out better than a lot of the other stuff.
It's just as a walk around with it. Like I said, I enjoy this, um, so it's my hobby, and so I'm always thinking about it. And when I'm out places and I just happen to be looking around, sometimes I'll see something that strikes me, and I'll be like, that'd make a really great background for a photo.
Now, you're married, right?
No, I'm not. No,
I thought you were married.
I was.
You were, okay. Whoops, sorry.
Sorry.
Uh, I feel stupid now.
No. It was one of those. It's me or the guns, and you don't see a wife hanging on the wall.
No, what I was saying, like, my wife, when 'cause I've been trying to get into like a little bit of what you do with like the photography and picking up stuff. And I'll pick up something like totally random that's like a pan or something. And my wife's like, "What are you getting that for?" I'm like, "I think it'll look really cool if I take a picture with
Oh
a
yeah,
gun on it." And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah. I used to get that all the time back when I was married. We'd be out places, and I would take my camera. I would just take photos of like walls. And she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, that'd be a great texture for a background on a gun." Matter of fact, I just got talked to from the building manager from where I work because I was down. They had some really interesting pillars in the parking garage, and I was down to take pictures of the pillars. And,
You probably thought you were trying to blow it up like that guy in
oh,
Richmond who
yeah,
knocked on the thing and they
so
went to
they come over and they sent security out and called some cops and like, this guy's out here taking photos of the support structures, and I'm like, I was.
Yeah, you heard about that guy that knocked on the columns in Virginia? Of a video that went viral.
No, I
Cops
didn't.
showed up at the house. They saw a this is the most dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. They saw a they're monitoring everything, and they saw him on video knocking on the pillars. So they're like at the Capitol down in Richmond. So they saw that, and they were able to track down his car, and he lived 100 miles away. So they drove 100 miles and wanted to know why he was knocking on the pillars. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And you know, and they're like, because of all this gun stuff going on. He's like, "I'm going to own guns."
Yeah, like I said, that's one of the reasons I live in Arizona. The cultures are different.
Yeah, but for knocking on the pillars, he's like, dude, he's like, I'm a carpenter, and I know that they built the pillars around actual trees, and I was knocking on it to see.
No,
It's
see
like, why
something,
are
say something, right?
you here? What's that?
See something, say something.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. I think all that stuff is so freaking overblown.
Yep.
Um, it's not even funny. A lot of the people out there just say something a little bit too often,
Yeah, I
or,
agree.
or for nothing.
Like I said, I think it's part of the culture. Um, People seem to think they're a little bit more important there than other places I've been to.
Oh, in the DC area,
Yeah,
you don't say.
yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I couldn't stand it. That's one reason I couldn't wait to leave.
Well, it's very political out here,
It is. It is.
but it's where we live because we live so close. I mean, like I got some neighbors who are like senators and congressmen and stuff. Some of them are. I get a couple Republican guys, but there are a few Dems who are senators and congressmen who live in my neighborhood, and I always beep and wave if I ever drive by them in my car that says gun ammo on it with freaking gun stickers on it.
yeah.
And I'm always out in my backyard taking pictures of guns. So
Well, I've always had walls. Any place I lived, I had to have walls because I don't want people to see the sheer amount of firearms that I own. So, um, plus also, there's the scariness of it. But yeah, I've done lots of backyard photos. The knife stuck in the tree trunk. That was a backyard photo.
yeah, but my work for GOA and stuff, they know who I am because I will send like stuff over to their offices and stuff. They probably don't like me to begin with.
But
The Republican guys don't mind me.
yeah, just culture.
I mean, I don't want to give up any names because I don't want to like dox them. Where they live at, they find out where I live at, then they know.
Yeah, I got you.
But there's a good way to find the congressmen and senators on a Halloween. They're the ones who always give out the full size candy bars
No, yeah,
because they're trying to bribe their parent. They have to put on this like look of, hey, look how friendly I am,
yeah.
which I think is
We
so
don't get none of that.
disgusting.
So yeah, yeah. I was just incompatible with the culture, so I left.
Yeah, you were only out here for like you're like I'm out of here. I'm like okay.
It was about 2 years.
Why'd you come out of here?
Uh, my my wife at the time wanted to be close to her family. That's where she's from.
Uh,
Um, Agreed to move out there, and I pretty much didn't like it from the time we got out there. Caused a lot of problems. So a lot because it interfered with what I like to do. I couldn't just drive out. There was a park nearby, and I would have to sneak firearms to take pictures next to streams. Absolutely beautiful scenery out there. Would have made some great photos.
which park was that?
Well, I don't want to say because my wife still lives right in front of it. So,
Oh, okay.
but it was it was in Fairfax, directly in Fairfax, and I'd have to sneak things down there or
Is there a leg there?
else and disguise them as something else. And I would have to take them down and watch very carefully, and set a pistol down on a rock next to a bubbling brook or whatever, and get my photo and snatch it back real fast. And here I could just walk up there and take 60, 80 photos of it from every different direction. Nobody would say a thing. So, like I said, culture.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more compatible with the Arizona culture, but
Yeah, you'd like it out here. You probably wouldn't like the heat if you're used to. I don't know if are you native Virginian?
yeah,
Are you? Yeah, you would probably have a hard time with heat. Probably the first 2 to 6 years. I'm from Michigan, so I'm basically in the same boat. And it took me quite a few years to get acclimated, but once I got acclimated, it doesn't bother me anymore.
I don't think that he would bother me too much. I'm cold all the time,
Yeah,
and when I've been out there, I really enjoyed the heat.
yeah, I thought I would too, and then 124 degrees starts rolling around, and you start to question whether it was a good decision. So
I was out there with like 100 and like a little bit over 100, and I was like, yeah, I'm comfortable. But I was also down in Mexico, in the desert there, and it got to like 130, and that kind of got a little bit hot, but it wasn't that bad.
yeah, I think the hottest. I was out doing a photo shoot for a tactical shotgun class, and it was 132 out in the particular place in the desert that we were. I think that was the hottest, and we ended up cutting that day short because we had people that were having heat strokes. So
Yeah,
I ended up out there half the day. I had planned for. But yeah, it gets hot here. It gets insanely hot here. Everybody's always, but the humidity, doesn't get very humid in an oven either. But you wouldn't stick your head in there at 132 degrees.
yeah.
I hate this.
I,
Isn't actually so bad.
I do a lot of work with a couple companies out there. X Tech is out there.
Yeah, I know Jeremy. Yeah,
Yeah, Jeremy's a good friend. I talked to him yesterday. In fact, their new pistol laser. You got to check that out.
never knew what.
They have a new laser light combo for the pistol,
No,
and it's like proximity activated,
really.
so you don't have to hit a switch when you just move your finger when it goes on the trigger. It will, or you can use your thumb to turn it
Gotcha.
off with just proximity. It's really cool. It's a really forward thinking design. I also do a lot of work with Lee Armory out there.
Yeah, I'm aware of Lee. I haven't done any work with him. Uh,
Yeah,
I believe they contacted me once. I don't remember what happened with it, but
great freaking company.
there's a lot of good companies out here. I work with a lot of the locals. So I don't work with all of them, obviously. There's so many out here.
Yeah,
I work
G
with
Webs, who's out there, is actually from Arizona.
who?
Gun websites on YouTube. He has
Oh,
like 150,000 subscribers.
who is it?
Gun websites.
Oh, gun websites. Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's out there.
yeah. If that's who I think it is, we actually chat quite a bit on instant messengers. There's AWS, which is Arizona Weapons Site. He's pretty big. Um,
Easy firearms. Got a shout out to my girl.
yep.
Camo.
I've done some work with Lazy Farms. I think they're in a couple of my photos. I don't think I worked directly for them. I think I was working with somebody who had stuff in their store. But
Yeah, they're like Cheryl Todd from Gun Freedom Radio was also part of AZ Firearms. Her and her husband owns that, and they're great people.
yeah.
So that's why I really think I would really like Arizona. And in fact, I've tried to get my wife to move to Arizona.
Well, the cost of living is much cheaper here too.
Yeah.
You import more guns.
Well, I got an offer for a job that's 100% remote, so I can work from anywhere. I didn't take it, but it was paying pretty good money, like DC money.
Hmm.
I was like, we can move to Arizona. You know what? We can get out there for the same price, and that can work for DC money.
Yep.
But yeah, I heard she's from New York City, so not too far from New York.
Yep. But yeah, there's an excessive amount of companies, in the second that are Second Amendment supporters that are here in Arizona.
Yeah, is MacBull out there?
No, Magpul I think is in Texas now.
Okay, I knew they moved somewhere.
Yeah, they were Colorado, but then they started
Yeah.
all those crazy laws, and I think they moved to Texas. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they're no longer in Colorado. That's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, Arizona is just where I'd really like to be because of the gun laws. But you guys are getting an influx of a lot of people from California.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that's going to change anything, or do you think
Yeah. It's already changing things. What cracks me up is they flee these states because they're horrible, and then they come here they still go to do these horrible things. I don't.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right. I mean, are you running for yourself?
So
So
how long do you think Arizona has before?
not long.
Not long.
Not long.
So maybe I should start looking at like Montana,
Yeah, Montana, Wyoming, things like that.
Wyoming.
Yeah, wide open plains. Yep, that's probably a good place to look. But yeah, Arizona's starting to get overrun with the leftist mentality. Um, it's pretty steady flow. And like I said, it's just I think it's hilarious because these people are running from the policies that they voted for, and then they push those policies here.
What I don't like about it is
A lot of these things you don't get one without the other, right? There's always a good upside to the downside, and
that
they do something because it fits their liberal sensitivities, um, but there's always the downside, which is the repercussions and something else that affects our lives. They run from that something else, but they're voting for the thing that caused it. So it's, I don't know. Like I said, I think people have to suffer from their own hands, from the choices that they made before they start to realize the choices were bad.
yeah, but when they just move away from the choices and do the same thing over and over again,
Hmm.
it's maddening.
Yeah.
One thing that really pisses me off is that they come into like Virginia first. Virginia was a very two-way friendly state,
Hmm.
very pro-gun, and all these people, anti-gun people, move in, and they're like, "Oh, you have to change because I'm uncomfortable." It's
Yeah.
like, well, you moved here, you idiot.
Yeah.
Why would you move here if our laws and our freedoms make you uncomfortable?
Yeah. I can't I can't explain it. It's like they're constantly chasing and looking for a utopia, and then when it fails, instead of rethinking their idea, they decide it was because it would work better somewhere else. Um, Now the upside of that is if you look at Northern California now, there's a lot of talk about secession. And
They want to. What is it? The state of Jefferson?
and
They want
you didn't hear that a decade ago. Maybe whispers here and there, but not in any kind of serious consideration being put on the ballots. So when that group of leftist crazies goes from one place to the other, uh, sensible minded people coming right behind them. So it's just a matter of migrating the horrible ideas around the country, and eventually it'll lose steam. This all is not lost, but it's going to take some time to shake it.
you don't live in Virginia. Look what I have. I don't know if you know what the significance of this is.
No.
It's you wear a Hawaiian shirt to the Boogaloo.
Oh, the boogaloo. Careful, you're going to get kicked off YouTube for saying that.
I'm probably gonna get kicked off YouTube
I believe
anyway.
that's been this is a hate term now.
Yeah, Boogaloo.
Yeah,
Freaking memes. People don't get jokes anymore.
hate terms, hate speech.
Freaking the OK symbol, playing the OK game. That guy, they're like, oh, we have to ban him from our.
Funny about that is that started as a flat out joke.
Yeah, it started. It's still a joke, and they don't freaking get it.
Yeah, yeah. It started as a joke to point out how stupid these people are, and then to prove the point, they fell for it, and now they use that as their poster child, and they're still continuously falling for it.
I have a friend that's ultra level. I mean, way left. And he's like, these guys are making us look like idiots.
Yeah,
He's like, I hate conservatives, but I really, really hate social justice warriors.
yeah. They're turning on each other now. So
Uh,
he's got
he
to
was never. I mean, he was ultra left, but he was also freedom loving. Like he's like big into guns, but except he's ultra left. And he's into like freedom of speech and stuff like that. And he thinks it's stupid when he thinks hate law. So He's ultra left, but he's more of I don't know what to describe him as. Maybe Berkeley in the '60s left.
Maybe just a classic liberal. Maybe.
I don't think he's a classic liberal. He's like, well, maybe he's a little bit left of classic liberal, but he still loves like freedoms.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they tell you.
Yeah, and I like watch his Facebook page when he gets into arguments about people about the OK hand symbol and stuff like that, and the term boogaloo. He's like, dude, it's a joke. It's all joke. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop taking everything so serious.
How does he feel about red flag laws?
He's not for red flag laws. He thinks it's a violation of due process.
All right. Very good.
I've talked to him recently about that.
So yeah, I'm just kind of interested in because a lot of them, they love freedom to a limit.
Nah, he's. I mean, like the stuff that he believes in is like socialized healthcare, or more socialism in the economy type stuff like that. But which I think it's kind of like I always try to like play it like that's kind of a violation of freedom too. But when it comes to like freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, due process, and stuff like that, he's all for that.
Okay, well that's good.
So I'm trying to convert him over on other stuff, but
No,
not working. I've been trying to convert him over since middle school, so
that's a long time.
yeah, like 30 years. It's not working,
Yeah.
but at least we can agree on social justice warriors.
That's true.
And cancel culture.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. I'm sure we could all probably find common ground on some ideas with anybody else.
Yeah, what do you think of the Don Lemon thing? I'm not sure if you saw it. Well, they're all laughing, calling Trump voters illiterate and rednecks and stuff.
More self-aggrandization, I think. I mean, what do I think of it? That they all, well, I shouldn't say they all. It's pretty common practice for them to belittle people who aren't them or don't think like them.
Don't they see that won't win them any supporters, and if anything, it's going to drive people more.
Man, yeah, I can't even explain that mindset anymore.
That's my whole thing.
It's obviously know that they don't have the numbers that they thought they did. I think at one point they were pretty puppy chested. I think they had the majority, and then Donald Trump. That kind of proved them wrong. That's why they keep pushing to change the way that elections are handled, so that the numbers they have numbers that are congregated and they're not spread out across the United States evenly.
Yeah, that's why they're pushing for this, the national popular vote thing.
Right. With the popular vote.
I think if you want to kick off a civil war,
yeah.
you ignore the electoral college.
Yeah.
I think that's the fastest way you would kick off a civil war. Let's say Trump would have won because of the electoral college, but yet, like, let's say Virginia, like Virginia goes red for Trump, which it might. If you look at the current polls, he's actually up in Virginia, which is insane, and that's all because of the gun stuff they're pushing.
Yeah, a lot of that's it comes and goes with the topic of the day.
Yeah. So, but I think in Virginia, honestly, I don't think the gun stuff is the gun people are going to go away and fade back in.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, man, anytime now, I was like, well, lobby day's over, so that's the big rally on the 20th. I was like, so everyone's going to calm down. Then we're going to have to, find ways to keep these people motivated. No, I mean, if anything, more people are motivated. It's just like, it's like the coronavirus, I guess. So a good thing. If more people get motivated and more people are pushing and more people are waking up, and more people are saying I didn't vote and I should have voted, and I'll never let this happen again. And I think what they tried, all the gun stuff that they've been trying to pass through Virginia, I think that just woke people up.
Yeah.
It looks like so far they're backing off the assault weapons ban. The Senate dropped it, and it was supposed to be brought up in the House, and they delayed it, and it's not on the schedule to be brought up anymore. So if we can keep it going until like the 11th, we have a real chance of defeating at least the assault weapons ban, which will the magazine ban, suppressor ban, all this stuff. We have a real chance of beating that. And Matt's out there saying from Facebook, saying that VA gun owners have been getting involved in local and state level politics, which is insane. I mean, if you go to a board of directors meeting, even if guns are not on the ballot, you have standing room only, and there's like 1,000 people, literally 1,000 people outside. And like Prince William County, for example, they voted Second Amendment sanctuary. Then after the election, a Democratic majority came back, and they held a conference that was supposed to be at 7 o'clock to undo it.
Mm.
And then all these people were going to show up, so they moved it to 2 o'clock, thinking, all right, well, guess what? No one's going to show up.
Right.
3,000 people showed up, left work to show up. So they were so scared that they're like, okay, never mind. And they were actually scared. That's why they're like, okay, we're not going to vote on this. So I mean, I've never seen anything like this, man. It's scary because of the new gun laws, but it's amazing. At the rally, lobby day, I was supposed to be out in Vegas, but I was at lobby day down in Richmond instead, and it was it looked it looked like America. That's all right I could say. It wasn't there. Were people of all different races and colors. There was women, men. They had a gay flag flying with the rattlesnake that says "Don't tread on me" on there, and just people were just so nice, and
Yeah.
it really showed. In Northrum, that coward went to North Carolina because he was afraid. Which it sounds kind of bad that he went to North Carolina, but guess what? That it showed. I think it showed that we got our message across a little bit, and even though that they're still, pushing this crap because they're Bloomberg funded, it's woken up a lot of sleeping giants, and there's a big sleeping giant that's been awakened that I can't talk about, but I'm pretty sure Bloomberg's going to hear about it like very shortly within the next few months, and I don't think he's going to like it very much.
Probably not.
Oh, I know he's not going to like it. But yeah, on that note, let me plug your stuff and we'll get you out of here. Yeah, I know, Jeremy, your camera went like unfocused from
Yeah.
looks like it's smudged or something.
I'm new to this whole streaming thing, which is
Yeah,
fun.
you gotta bought a camera.
I work in tech, and I'm pretty involved in it, but I've always been the guy on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
Very seldom itching on this side. So, yeah,
Right.
I got wires everywhere.
Right. If you're on YouTube, you can find all the links down in the description, but I'm going to put it up here too. If you want to see more of Jeremy's work, you can go to dangerclosedigital.com. I highly recommend that you go there. If you need any product shoots or anything like that, I would recommend it. I will say this: what I showed. I'm a member of a group called POMA, the Professional Outdoor Media Association, and it's kind of really hard to get into because you have to have a body of work and everything. And I showed my editor, Freddie, that, and I think he copied us an email both back. And Freddie was so impressed with your work. He said, "If you want to join POMA, I will sponsor you," which doesn't happen.
Well, that's something I may look into.
Yeah, which doesn't happen. But Danger Close Digital, awesome pictures on there. If you want, You can follow Jeremy on Instagram and Facebook at Danger Close Digital, and I highly recommend that you do. Some of the pictures are they're breathtaking, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I went out to Arizona, and
Well, I mean, it makes me happy that someone's getting so much enjoyment out of them. I have a lot of fun taking them and producing them, and I'm just glad that there's other people out there that appreciate it. So thank you.
Are you going to Clash Bash?
I'm sorry, what?
Clash Bash. It's in
No.
Texas. It's a AK shoot.
Oh, Kalash Bash. No. I think towards the end of this year, I'm going to start doing some touring and going around the country a little bit more. I haven't been a SHOT Show in a couple of years. I've been kind of disappointed with uh, the lack of real innovation. Just seems like rehashing things. So to me, it's kind of a waste of time to go. But I would like to get out to some of these large shoots and start getting some action photography. I want to find some people who uh, are unknown and just kind of catch them at their best moments, um, and make them feel good about themselves and say, hey, you can look like an action hero. So
Yeah, I need to get you to do some stuff with me.
what's that?
I need to get you to do stuff with me, man. Pictures.
Well, if you find yourself out here on vacation, they'll take you out, get you behind a flamethrower, get you behind some machine guns. Um, yeah, pretty much anything.
Yeah, I know a lot of people out there. I might be going to Clash Bash. I think I probably will with the XSEC crew. They rented a ranch
Mhm.
for Clash Bash. I'm talking about they rented a whole freaking ranch,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
200 acres.
Yep.
So that's what they rented. It's like, so stay there, go shoot at nighttime or whatnot, pop
Yep.
off stuff in the backyard. Yeah.
But
Uh,
so I'll probably start going out a little bit more, branching out a little bit more, and doing a little bit of moving around the country a little bit, and just try to get people in different climates and different cultures, and see what we come up with.
yeah, you can also follow Jeremy on Twitter at Danger Close Pics. On Twitter. I was about to say .com, but it's just Danger Close Pics. Anything else you want to plug? Or
No, that's it. Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter are my mainstays. So
Right.
I think you covered everything there, and I'm really glad that you enjoy my work. I have a lot of fun doing it, and it's actually kind of refreshing because sometimes, especially the way that Instagram is my primary because that's where I started, but the way that Instagram kind of treats the gun community, you don't get a whole lot of feedback on things. I used to get a lot of great feedback. People like, I love this, and hey, can I bring you my gun? And can we do this and that? And I really don't get anything anymore. So
I've been following you for like a few years with your photography.
yeah, it's just the amount of comments have gone down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's across the board.
Yeah, yeah, but it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge. Am I connecting with people? Am I inspiring people to do those things? Quite often I'll go out with people and I'll show them how to do some of the things that I do because they want to learn some of that.
Yeah.
And, I used to get inquiries about it all the time, and now it's just kind of silent. So I don't know if it's lack of interest in my content or if it's just just because of the way things are going on social media. So
Yeah. Well, I had to rate something for a publication on another firearm photographer. I've done a few. So I've done you, and I've done a couple other people. And he's a big name. I'm not gonna say a name, but he's a big name in the firearm photography world. He does a lot for like a lot of companies and a lot of professional shooting teams and a lot for Hollywood and everything else to shoot. And I'm
Mhm.
looking at my T-shirt says "Defend the First." I defend all amendments. And I looked at his stuff, and I was actually talking to someone. I'm like, this guy is really famous. He makes a lot of money. doing these shoots, and not close to. I'm not saying this to like blow smoke up your ass or anything, but it's not close to the quality of your shots.
Thank you.
So I mean, like, how do we get Jeremy up there with this? Because this dude is making a lot of money doing this. He's doing like Hollywood posters and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, contact me. I'm going to try to. I very seldom use vacation time. I'm pretty much staycation guy. If you have a desire for me to come out and do what I do, then contact me and we'll see if we can work something out.
Yeah, because this guy, I
Um,
mean, this guy's like doing like a lot of the guns you see on Hollywood posters and stuff. He does, and like it's not even freaking close. I don't know, and that kind of pisses me off for some reason.
Well, I'm not aggressive about my work.
Oh, look,
I don't chase companies. Companies always come to me.
this guy's a dick too, by the way.
Well, that kind of goes with the territory.
Arrogant. And I'm like, dude, it was like I almost sent him one of yours. Say, hey, check out this guy, because it's like, but I don't know.
Probably a good chance I probably know who you're referring to.
Yeah,
He may actually even know me. So, but
yeah,
I'm not aggressive about it at all. I don't reach out and I don't beg for parts. Companies seek me out. So, um, if you own a firearm company and are making parts and you want to, see them on a bill, then contact me. Let me know. And a lot of times we just do trades. So, yeah, just let me know.
support us at patreon.com/John Crump. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, where I follow Jeremy here, but you can follow me at realjohncrump.com. My pictures look nothing like Jeremy's, because I'm not as talented as Jeremy when it comes to photography. Maybe one day, probably not, probably never, but I can say that. Vivid Black Swan Tactical, they have some really cool shirts there and stuff like that. And every time you purchase anything from them, it actually supports us directly. I got a lot of plugs here. Join GOA for 25% off at gunowners.org. Gunowners.org. Know what's going on with this damn Mac. It's gunowners.org/black swan media. That's us. If you want to do like a super chat donation, but I don't have super chats, you can do that at what Gunner? I don't know what Matt's saying. At paypal.me/John CC. Matt's saying something there. Yeah, support us at Black Swan Media. Matt is the producer on this show. I think it's actually my magic mouse. I know I'm cutting off and on, Matt. I think it's my magic mouse, so let's do this. Join the conversation on youtube.com/John Crump 2. If you're watching on Instagram, not Instagram, on D Live or Facebook or the other YouTube channel, this is where I'm trying to push everyone to. It was just a lot easier. If you want to start a Second Amendment sanctuary in your county, go to gunownersaction.org/SASO to find out some stuff. And I want to plug two other things really, really quick here. VCDL.org doing great work in Virginia. This excellent work in Virginia. That guy in the comments. Yeah, there you go. I love that name. That guy in the comments is like the best name for anybody on YouTube. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you, Matt, my producer over there. Our producer Matt's freaking sending me a message and telling you. I always forget to tell people to like and share the video. I also want to plug a thing called holdmyguns.org. If you don't know holdmyguns.org, I'm on the mental health board of that. They are a voluntary organization. So if you're in mental stress and you're like suicidal or whatnot, and you want someone to hold your guns, and you're in one of those universal background check states, they will hook you up with an FFL that holds your guns until you get mentally right. A cool thing about Hold My Guns is they are no compromise. They don't believe in government mandates. They think this should be a voluntary program, and only you can decide when when you need someone to hold your guns and when to get them back. So you don't have to go through any mental checks or anything like that. And they are helping a lot of people. A lot of vets are using them, and this is our solution to red flag laws. With organizations like holdmyguns.org, it basically eliminates the need for red flag laws, and there's actual studies that says making it voluntary will actually help the person more than mandating that they have to give their guns over. And I actually have the studies, and they have a lot of backing right now, and GOA is backing them. So if GOA backs Hold My Guns, that should tell you something, because we don't compromise on anything. And it's founded by Sarah Arbrecht, who's a great person, and the vice president is Genevieve Jones, who is soon to be the wife of the Gun Collective's John over at the Gun Collective. So they're definitely no compromise. They don't believe in universal background checks, red flag laws, or anything like that, and they fight against it. So they're a great organization. So you can always check them out and help them out a little bit. And that's it. A long-winded thing, but I want to thank Jeremy, and I want to thank everyone out there. G-Webs, guy in the comment, Matt, that's Cowboy, John Voorhees, I saw you earlier, Kermit Loves Bacon, and everyone else that just lurks and watches it, and everyone else that will comment after it. This is John. Remember to support your independent journalism, because that's me, independent journalism. And I want to talk to you, G-Webs, offline about a new project that I have a lot of backing for, and it's going to go through. And that is it. I'm going to hit this, and we're going to get out of here because it is late.
You've been watching Fireside Chats with John Crump, a
1 second,
Black
Jeremy.
Swan Media Group production. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in every week for a conversation with the difference makers in the world.
Don't go anywhere.